Imagine leaving everything behind: your home, your language, even the land you grew up on, to cross an ocean shrouded in myth and fear. That's what over 147,000 Indians did when they journeyed on the Fatel Razak to Trinidad and Tobago.
That image really hits home. I'm excited to dig into this story with you. Today, we're unraveling the origins and legacy of Indian arrival in Trinidad and Tobago, how it shaped the islands, and what it means for everyone today.
We'll walk through the harrowing voyage, explore how Indian culture took root, spotlight contributions from cuisine to politics, and end with how Indian Arrival Day is celebrated now and why it still matters.
Plus, we'll share a few stories you might not find in your history books. Ready to dive in?
So let's pick up with that first major moment, the arrival of the Fatel Razak in 1845. It wasn't just the start of a new life, but the beginning of a cultural revolution in Trinidad and Tobago.
Exactly. The journey itself was brutal. Most laborers came from regions like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. They spent months at sea, facing cramped conditions and uncertainty. It's remarkable that so many survived and persevered.
Once they landed, life was hardly easier. Assigned to sugar estates, they worked long hours under strict contracts, often for 5 years or more. But even in those tough times, they found ways to preserve their language, prayers, and traditions.
And that resilience set the stage for generations to come. It's wild to think how much of today's Trinidadian identity traces back to those early years on the plantations.
Speaking of plantations, the early Indian community didn't just work the land, they transformed it. They introduced crops like rice, dasheen, and bitter melon, and revolutionized sugarcane cultivation.
And now, it's hard to imagine a Trinidadian meal without those influences. Even the way food is grown and prepared was shifted. Their methods helped revive the sugar industry, which was in decline after emancipation.
It's a great example of how migration isn't just about people moving, but ideas and techniques traveling too. Agriculture laid the foundation, but their impact went way beyond the fields.
Totally agree. That brings us to something delicious, how Indian cuisine became a national treasure.
We have to talk about food: roti, curry, doubles, falori. These aren't just dishes, they're threads in Trinidad and Tobago's cultural tapestry.
And let's not forget music. Chutney and chutney soca have become huge, thanks to artists like Sundar Popo and Ravi B. Sambhar. Their sounds blend Indian rhythms with Caribbean beats, creating something totally unique.
The influence is massive in politics and education too. Leaders like Kamla Persad Bisasar and the late Basdeo Pandey broke barriers, while Indo-Trinidadians helped found schools and produced writers like V.S. Naipaul.
What's amazing is how these contributions aren't siloed. They've become national pride. The story of Indian arrival is really the story of Trinidad and Tobago itself.
Let's fast forward to today, May 30th. Indian Arrival Day is a full-on national celebration. What stands out most to you during these festivities?
Honestly, it's the energy. From temple prayers to Tossa-drum parades and reenactments of the Fatel Razak landing, there's this mix of solemn remembrance and joyful celebration. Even people who aren't of Indian descent come out to enjoy the food stalls: curry duck, aloo pie, gulab jamun, you name it.
The food alone is a draw, but I'm always struck by the blend of religious ceremonies, dance performances like Bharatanatyam and Kathak, and that sense of community. The holidays become a symbol of unity across backgrounds.
And every year, there's a feeling of connection, not just looking back, but honoring how far we've come together.
But let's be real, preserving these stories and traditions takes effort, especially with new generations growing up in a digital world. How do you see Indian Arrival Day evolving?
I think the future is about blending old and new. The National Trust is recording oral histories and recipes, schools are teaching Indo-Trinidadian history, and social media's connecting the diaspora. But there's definitely a gap. Young people sometimes feel distant from these traditions.
That's true, but it also creates room for innovation, like sharing folk songs online or remixing chutney music with global beats. The real challenge is making heritage accessible and relevant.
Exactly. Celebrating Indian Arrival Day isn't just nostalgia, it's fuel for creativity and a bridge for intercultural dialogue.
Let's wrap things up. Today we covered the harrowing voyage across the Kalapani, the agricultural and cultural transformations, and how Indian Arrival Day unites the nation.
3 big takeaways for me. First, the resilience of those first Indian immigrants still echoes today. Second, Indo-Trinidadian culture has become a cornerstone of national identity. And third, there's real power in sharing and preserving these stories for the future.
If you're listening, here's an action step. Join a local celebration, try a traditional recipe, or share an immigrant family story with someone new. That's how the legacy stays alive.
Thanks for exploring this journey with us. However you celebrate Indian Arrival Day, remember it's a story of unity, transformation, and hope. Thanks for listening. The content was created by Hollis Sankar, HC Sankar@gmail.com, assisted by AI. Thanks for listening. Email him for more free podcasts.